Well, I'm an hour late. Happy Memorial Day. Well. Looks like I don't have the chat plugged in. Let's do that. Let's do that. Sources, YouTube chat. Paste. Bing, bada, boom. Party people. Party. Happy Memorial Day. Do you know a veteran? I know a few. Are you at the beach? Man, I wonder how late I would have slept. It's Monday, the 27th of May, 2024. And it's just me. And my cup of coffee. Yeah. Good morning, Bach. ¿Cómo se va? How you? What's the weather like over there? It's not Veterans Day, Memorial Day, where we remember those who have served. Hey, Amy. I got my low morning voice going on. It was even more grovelly when I got up. And here's something funny. Almost sounds like a didgeridoo. Last week I got off of a 5 week itinerary, and during that 5 weeks I did pretty well, but I sprained my hamstring moving a rock. So I have 10 days to nurse that, and I gotta take another trip, and then I'll be back. Around beginning of June. My former boss, one of my former bosses, was a crew chief on a C-130 AWACS in the Iraq War and Desert Storm. Great dude. Good morning, Belladonna. How are you? really got the exclamation points. Sometimes I can wake up and be awake. Most times I need coffee and it takes hours. And sometimes I just go back to sleep. Hey, Joe, where you going with that ood in your hand? It's been a while. How's things over there in your part of the world? Here in the United States, it's Memorial Day. Uh, it's a day to honor those who have served in the armed services. Mm. Mm. Oh, I'm in an adjustment period, I'd say. I've probably aged at least a year in the last 5 weeks. Well, it, Bella, if you missed them, uh, they're still there. Uh, I have. I don't think I've missed. Maybe I missed one broadcast. I've been late for two since the start of the Monday thing. But that's me too, Bach. You can handle mornings, just don't. You say don't have conversations. I don't even want to be spoken to until I've at least had half a cup. I even have a mug that says, it has lines, and at this point it says, you may speak now, basically, almost when I'm done with my coffee. Yeah, I guess it's been rough. I mean, I don't even, I disassociate so much that it's like, oh, is this hard? What it's all the same to me. Hard, easy, good, bad, shitty, great. You know, I try not to think about the and put the oh, these are the things that upset me, because there's things that don't, like, and it's all momentary, moment to moment, living in the moment, present, being present. Not everything is going to be great all the time. Uh, but yeah, I mean, in the last couple of weeks, the kids graduated from their schools, their grade, not graduated. They're not that old yet. But that is rapidly approaching. Oh, you got another week of school where you're at, Bach buddy. Uh, well, I gotta say that it was surprisingly emotional when my son graduated 5th grade. I didn't think much of it until I got home and I started looking around and saw some of the artwork. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm never going to get that again. The artwork that I have, it's, precious to me. It's useless to others, probably. It's just hand drawings, crayons and stuff. But, like, I started crying because my son is like, he's growing up. And I'm not ready for that. mm. Yeah. Probably not ready for a lot of things. Uh, but, sometimes you don't get to choose. Timing, you can pick your timing. but sometimes opportunity will pop up and it's not within your, you know, it's a random occurrence, a window of opportunity. You jump through it. I have grandkid art to look forward to. Well, maybe. I sure hope that that doesn't happen as it proceeded to happen. And when I was at Sulphur High, which is where Stella will be going, there was a lot of pregnant girls for hey, my blues. It's Monday. I'm getting a late start this week because this is my 10 days of chill the fuck out. And it's Memorial Day. And I'll probably keep bringing that up because I have friends who have served in the armed forces. And, you know, the stuff that we talk about, stuff that I talk about, is very, they suffer with a lot of the same issues that former cult members experience. There's the culture of the armed services. When you get back into the real world, which Scientologists call the WOG world, you get back into the real world, it's hard to fucking adjust. You've lived in an entirely different system for however long you were in the service, and it can just be straight up difficult. Even going to the damn store. Or a restaurant. Um, well, blues, yeah. It's interesting that you say that because the fact that you are aware of it means that you don't have that symptom of mind blindness that is typically associated with high spectrum autism, uh, wherein you wouldn't know any different. That you know that you wouldn't be capable or whatever of having kids, which you are capable, obviously, if you have a working sexual organ, but because that's really all it takes, a working sexual organs. But for to be a parent, yeah, it's totally different. Um, it's actually a big reason why I'm here. There are things that their mother can't do, and I have to be able to do things that they need. And it's taken way too long, but I figured at the, I mean, there really hadn't been an opportunity for me to slide back into the picture until now. And so I've got catch up to do. I'm still considering going back into teaching, substitute teaching, until I can resolve my Social Security income reconsideration, which is just smack me in the head with a bat because it's like they just want you to die and go away, which is similar to how the military is treated when they seek help after their service. And almost, I can't think of any service member that I know, friend of mine, family, otherwise, that hasn't suffered some kind of injury, usually physical, but yeah, always mental. So you've got physical and mental disabilities or injuries, and they don't want. They're just like, yeah, piss off. You want a tetanus shot? Fuck you. I literally have a friend who went to go get a tetanus shot at the VA clinic, and they're like, "What do you think this is? A walk-in clinic where you can just get whatever drugs you want?" He's like, "I thought you were good for that, a tetanus shot." And they're like, "No, fuck off." Well, now his wife goes and screams and raises, shakes her fists at them. He's getting some help, but in many cases, it takes the spouse or the partner to advocate, and to even learn about it, because after their service, like they've done rules and regs for so long and they're out. It's like, I don't even want to read that stupid paperwork and fill out this form and all that. That should have been, that should already be done. It shouldn't even be a question. And I totally relate with the government with the Social Security disability and Social Security income, because they have all of my records and I have to provide it to them every single time they say no, which has been many times. By default, it's no. Yeah, Blues. You say they always say every woman feels when she wants to be a parent. I never had that feeling or wish. I do not want to have children. Um, my ex-wife said the same thing, and wasn't too pleased when she got pregnant either time. Um, Thanks. It says, uh, "I'll do it tomorrow." My Snoopy shirt. Oh, that's good to hear. Bach says VA experience in Minnesota has been great. Not myself, but my father, Korean War veteran, and many friends. Cheers. Thank him for his service. You know, it's you're giving up. You're giving up things, maybe for the rest of your life, when you serve. It truly is a sacrifice, one way or the other. And not all retired veterans are or were altruistic. I have a Facebook account. God help me, and I see some of the people I graduated with, and some of them joined the Marines or whatever, and I can tell you their motives were not altruistic and still aren't. But nonetheless, and all the same, they made a sacrifice. Um, this guy, Mandatory Fun Day, is active 04, I think, in the Army, and he makes little shorts that are absolutely hilarious about modern service. And man, they're funny. They're funny, but they're disturbing too, because the stuff that he talks about, I don't know how he gets away with it. People have accused him of being a intel psyop dude, and of course, if he is, he's gonna deny it, right, and make it seem ridiculous. I don't think he is. I think that what it might be is, um, he has permission to poke fun at the Army, or he's skirting the rules and driving. It probably is driving recruit it's on some percentage recruitment, because he doesn't just talk about the bad stuff, but he does talk about the bad stuff, and it's not flattering to any of the armed services, but he also talks about the good things. No, you're not, Cynthia. I am. I was an hour late. Hour late. One of the, a friend of mine who's a graduate, got his Bachelor of Science as an electrician, called me at 10:20, and I'm like, I don't know. Well, I'm like, who the fuck is calling me? And it just kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing like a fucking alarm clock. So I finally picked up reluctantly because I didn't even know it was. I figured if it's ringing that much, it's either Cynthia or, a mom, somebody like that. But it was Mr. Eastman. And so I got up and made coffee. Like, yeah, I was talking about mandatory fund day. Yeah. Don't touch my boats. Mm. Well, it would explain why on Netflix there's a whole bunch of stuff, like Band of Brothers and stuff is on there again. Which, if you haven't seen Band of Brothers, it's a great. In fact, this is kind of a tradition. I don't do it every year, but mostly every year I'll sit down and watch the entire show, Band of Brothers, on. Actually, I do that on D-Day, December 6th. Or no, that's December 6th is the Day of Infamy. D-Day is June. So next month, I'll watch Band of Brothers. Tactical Canadian Geese. Would you watch some of Angry Cop's stuff? He does a lot of Army related videos. And I don't know. Angry Cops doesn't seem like a channel that I want to watch just from the name. I agree, Bach. I agree. It was fantastically done. I do wish there had been some parallel stories with African Americans and Native Americans in World War II. Because, Dick Winters and that whole saga going all the way up to the Eagle's Nest, 101st Airborne, Easy Company, that whole epic tragedy and story and glory and all that. That was a tightly groomed, basically all white, company. What? You have a picture of the real Easy Company sitting at the Eagle's Nest group photo as a backdrop on your laptop. That's cool. Yeah, what a triumphant victory. But God, man, was it Bergenau that was close by? The efficiency at which they were killing the Jewish people was horrendous. There's a movie specifically about the approval of that process and how the SS stepped in and basically strong-armed some industrial oligarchs or whatever to construct this stuff on the scale of mass, murder. There's also a show that's available. I think it's on Amazon, and it's called the something zone. The zone of uh oh man. It was about a commander named Haas, Wilhelm Haas, who was in charge of Auschwitz. Um, the zone of something. It's really, really good. It's a slow burn movie, and man, is it powerful. I think that if you like World War II stuff, it's a good movie to watch. Um, the disparity in the way that they show the normal German life of how they wanted to build the future. Um, with 20% of the Jewish population preserved for the as workers for the industrial complex. Um, what also they're shining a light in that movie that many directors dare not do is to humanize the Nazis. And um, somebody else was talking about that recently. I was watching an interview about, genocide. They happen all the time, and we don't discuss it because it's so inhuman. But these people that are committing these genocides, many times they're yeah. Guess what? They're humans. Um, some of the willing participants and unwilling participants, they are human beings, just like everybody else. And there is complicity is complicitness in a genocide. Um, this is the hard topic because at what point, if you're in a nation, your home host nation, and uh, you are integrated vitally to its economy, to its government, um, at what point do you become an unwitting or unwanting complicit accessory to genocide? And it's easy to say, oh, fucking goddamn Nazis and how evil they were. But there were so many people just like, even the veterans. You watch we were talking about Band of Brothers and Shifty Powers from Arkansas was like, some of them guys, I think we might have been real good friends. They might have liked to hunt, I might have liked to fish, but, under different circumstances, I think we could have been good friends. And populism and rhetoric can render a population of people complicit. And should they be held accountable for their government's crimes? Well, we know that other countries will, as we have, look at those countries and their countrymen as evil. But if you've ever been in a situation, like even like on a personal level with a real psycho for a long period of time or an extended period of time, um, sometimes you have to be psycho too in order to survive it. Sometimes you have to disassociate from ideas or situations and just say, yeah, okay, this is how it is. In other words, you have no other choice. It's either that or death in the extreme, or it's either that or no freedom in the extreme. Yeah, it's heavy topics, but it's Memorial Day. This is what service, uh, armed services are tasked with dealing with these fucking massive humanitarian problems across the world. And, you know, I can't even tell you if half the time it's right. Sometimes I feel like it's the attitude is, well, doing something is better than doing nothing. Um, but sometimes that something is just so poorly thought about and poorly planned, poor intelligence. But the what's the word I'll be looking for? Urgency of it is so much that you don't have time to really thoughtfully make decisions. You don't have time, in other words, to give the other group that is committing atrocities more time to do more atrocities. Yeah. Yeah, you'll about the stories of amazing things like I've seen people do amazing things. I've seen Scientologists do amazing humanitarian things or selfless things. I'll say that. Um, Humanitarian, probably not so much. But without any regard for their own life, because in the code of the Scientologists, do not fear for your immediate life. You're all going to be born again. So if that's embedded into your psyche, and you see someone being wronged, and you are putting you've got your code of honor in, um, your immediate life doesn't matter, and that's core. So you don't take a second to think about, oh, should I might get hurt. You just do it, you know. Um, and truthfully, the LAPD does speak some truth when they say Scientologists have actually helped us. There's some truth in that because Scientologists will stop in the middle of a freeway, the 101, in the middle of a big ass wreck and direct traffic with no experience, 90-mile-an-hour cars going by, and they're out there trying to wait for the emergency personnel. It's a little weird because, per the ideology, when someone has a traumatic experience, you don't speak because you're put in the mind of a Scientologist. When you speak after someone has had a traumatic experience, you are adding to what they call the engram or you're making the problem worse. Too long didn't read version. So while you may have people responding to threats physically, or a wreck, or a fire, or an emergency situation, they won't be saying much to the victims. Um, they'll wait for the authorities, and then they'll talk to the authorities. But all I'm saying is that there's some truth in what the LAPD says, that Scientology helps them. They do, because that they don't have a fear of dropping the body. Hmm. I guess I made a point. Belladonna said I made a point. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a if you are integrated into it, there's many situations where you really don't have a choice. Uh, you know, the subjects of torture and mistreatment in World War II, you know, kind of echo in small ways, not in any big way, because these people were gassed by the millions. But in small ways, while they were being of use to, German households, they were essentially slaves. So it echoes of the past there, because everyone was completely complicit and like, oh, okay, they're a Jew, okay, well, hey, I need my boots cleaned, uh, and since you're already next door, after you do theirs, come do mine. Um, that person that's doing the boots, they may have a fraction of their day, a very tiny, tiny fraction of their day where they could exercise any kind of freedom. But they could have zero time to exercise their freedom. I mean, it could be all the way down to 30 seconds or a minute of free time. But if they do anything to jeopardize, in other words, if they don't do exactly what they're told and do all the terrible shit they're supposed to do, um, they lose that 30 seconds or minute of freedom, in which they could maybe try to enact some kind of plan to get the fuck out and escape. And such is the case with many Germans too. Um, it's not a popular subject to talk about, because for so long, especially Cold War period, and post war America, World War II, everyone's all chin up, and you know, of course, civil rights came along, and it's like, oh no, we can't have the world that we wanted. Um, what the hell was I gonna say about that? It's people subjected to this kind of inhuman treatment. Uh, it is very difficult. It would have been even for a German citizen to sort of fight back, as they are the the elan vital, is that the right word, of the society. In the same way that we imprisoned all the Japanese uh, for being communists when they were just Japanese Americans. Um, Same thing would have happened to any German sympathizers. You know, forgeries could be made for sure, um, but they didn't even have to be. It was so authoritarian. So it's for me. It's just it's hard to judge people. An entire country. You got a system in place that is causing. And that's the root of it. Is the person in power and the system and the people in power, the figureheads. Um, yeah, you see it play out over and over and over again. Thank God that we have today. We might not have tomorrow. I'm the type of person that will thank veterans when I see them, especially if they're wearing any kind of hat or insignia. Um, and I try to do it in private because I've found that a lot of veterans don't like to be uh, like called out in the grocery store or anything. But um, some of them do. Some of them love it. And part of me always questions like, did you just sit in a chair? Uh, but regardless, I do think service branches um, here in the United States, as stupid as it is right now, maybe the stupidest I've ever seen it. This may be the stupidest time from my perspective that I've lived in the United States. But I still have the freedom to kneel before whoever I want or not at all. And I'm grateful that I was born here. Could have been born somewhere way worse. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm ashamed of what I am ashamed of what the United States does. But I'm not ashamed to be born here. The history of the United States is just terrible. If you really look at Russia and the United States and China, whatever, they do the same goddamn things. When you live here, you're the good guy. Um, so why would you expect someone else to act in their own self-interest, or a country to? Why would you expect them to not act in their own self-interest? Now, that self-interest could be maligned as fuck, but they're still going to act on their self-interest. Good. That's great, Bach. That's a good practice. I mean, having cash is rare now, isn't it? Cash money. And we are definitely moving in that direction. You know, I don't call these phones anymore. They're not. This is a trick. This is a trick. Yeah, have a phone. Well, what else are you going to do? In the 1980s and 90s, everyone was freaking out, satanic panic, and also worried about getting chipped. For some reason, around the millennium. And if you're not going to by all rights, we should have chips at this point. Because what do you do without your fucking phone? How do you verify your shit? How do you, two factor authenticate? How do you get your password retrieved? How do you know, this thing's got biometrics and that phone is a decade old almost. It's not phones, they're exogenic cybernetics. Scandinavian hands are not designed for Asian made smartphones. Yeah. Yeah, smartphones. They're the first, to me, they are the first cybernetics that we integrate with. And it's just the first of many. There's so much you can do with one of these things. Um, and so much companies do to absorb your attention. And not only that, you know, studies are in now. These companies are altering your brain chemistry with the dopamine fixes they're giving you. Um, and they tailor make it for elderly to uh, be serotonergic interactions. You've got dopamine interactions and serotonin interactions. People 50 and above tend to respond more to serotonin reactions, and below that's dopamine. You get people's brains wired differently. If you, it's that whole reward thing. And if you are constantly rewarding the brain center, it's going to expect that. That crosses and bleeds over into real life. Well, guess the real life ain't like that. And so people become depressed. Their cybernetics can make them depressed. Or any other number of things. Hormone imbalance. People rarely talk on them as opposed to texting and emailing. Quicker to talk most times than play tag with text. Yeah. I would rather. I mean, there are some conversations, but I use WhatsApp. It's an easy way to just you flip the microphone button up, and instead of a text, it's like a CB radio. Um, it can get a little confusing to have a conversation like that because it's not real time, but it's faster than texting for sure. And texting is very dangerous when you're doing a lot of things. You want to text and fucking work construction and text. I mean, you're asleep at the wheel when you're doing that, really. You're not paying attention. Mm. Well, does anybody have anything going on this week worth mentioning? I don't. I don't know. I'm just chilling. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna make my leg. I'm gonna take care of my leg here. It's gotten quite a bit better in the last few days. Yeah, remembering phone numbers. Yeah, I used to have at least 40 memorized in my head. Ah, Blues is renovating. That is exciting. The idea makes me feel exhausted already. You're gonna watch some horror movies? That sounds right up your alley, Cynthia. Yeah, I'm just definitely uh, burnt out right now. I'm struggling to have any kind of topic, but that's probably nothing new because I come every Monday and just blah 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 blah. There's things that I have planned after next week, but I can't start really forming that up into, you know, multiple clay plans, whatever bad analogy, until then. But we worked on some music last night. There's quite a bit of unpublished footage and music. It's a lot actually for me alone to sort through and edit and do it without rushing it. I don't want to rush it. Um, I got more advice to write more, write a book. It's like the Raven from Nevermore, or the Raven from the Raven, the Raven, the Raven from the Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Nevermore. Uh, write a book. 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 Fuck. Story ain't over yet. How you gonna write a book without an ending? Oh, you went to the Folk Life Festival. That sounds awesome. I bet you saw a bunch of music. Yeah. Um, I want to say I went to one, but if I did, I don't remember it. That would have been in my 20s when I was on the road. I do remember being to some, going to some festival with Ricochet, and they performed. Of course, I was working, so I wouldn't. I would have just been as soon as the show was over. I would have been in the bus, crashed out. A big bong rip, eat some food, and relax. That sounds really good. That sounds really good. I'm gonna do at least an hour, so there's 5 minutes left. Uh, I noticed that when I did the radio broadcast last week, after I don't know 2 weeks of not broadcasting, uh, the Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all the algorithms, if you don't post regularly, um, you get buried. There's so many people broadcasting. So, um, the oh man, it's been a long, hard road, dude. Yeah, you're damn right. It's not over though. Mm-mm. No, it's not over. I had some weird mystical experience. It was probably drug induced, but the whole idea of it that I came away from it with was that I can't die until my work is done. So whatever that is, and I have a general idea of of what how much more work there is, and there's a lot. So I know I can't die before then. I got at least another 20 years, probably. Um, maybe maybe 40. That's optimistic. And 20 years, that ain't long. You know, my daughter's already 12. Seemed like yesterday. I don't know if I'm gonna get it all done. And don't really see, I just uh time makes just turns us all into dust. Very, very seldom is there somebody who's done some work that lasts. Yeah, there's always work to do. What's what Leonard Cohen said? I love Leonard Cohen. Hey, beach. It's Memorial Day. You at the beach? Hey, if I get grandkid art, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. Yep, all of this I'm aware of. And I'm doing stuff. Honestly, sometimes I feel like it's just all a big fucking hallucination. Things happen. I think about things. Things happen. Somehow things present themselves in certain ways, and I'll look at it and be like, no, or I'll look at it and be like, yeah, that's the right timing, right opportunity. You saw Leonard Cohen live. Oh, yeah. No Time to Die. Hmm. When I was a teenager, I used to, that was a catchphrase of mine, Time to Die. And I didn't know about Memento Mori or anything like that, but that's essentially what it meant. Time to die. When I tell my friends or call them on the phone, be like, hey, it's time to die. That meant we're going to do something. And it didn't mean suicidal or anything like that. It just meant, you know, we're going to go do something. Time to die. Uh, Spring bank holiday, best, very changeable weather. Hmm. I would appreciate any uh, magic, voodoo, prayers, thoughts and players for hurricane season. Good God, I don't want to have to deal with that this year. The water is high everywhere. Storm surge would be catastrophic. So, put some thought into it. Divert those storms away. Make them go away. This house still has damage from 2021. So, we got what? Cicadas? Yeah, we got cicadas here. We got, dude, there's millions of species of insects here. That's why all the birds come here. We got 4,000 indigenous species and another like 20,000, total 20,000 that migrate here or through here. It's a great place for bird watchers because of all the insects. Yes, they fly in your face. I mean, there are times when you go outside and immediately you are swarmed. And with all the high standing water, oh man. If we had a hurricane, there'd be people probably dying of, infections from bug bites and shit. I can get bit by a lot of stuff because I grew up here. It's like, I go somewhere else and they're like, oh, the mosquitoes are bad. I'm like, what? What mosquitoes? Hmm. Yeah, the coast is receding, man. We've lost 20 miles since I was born. And you can see it on Google Maps. It's like fucking 20 miles gone. So in another 20 years, this may be beach property if we keep getting storms like we get. Well, uh, since this week I ain't doing much. I'm not doing the carpe diem like, hey, Monday, let's get some shit done. I'm not feeling that. Because I've got some shit to do at the end of the week that will be a whole nother trip. And then I'll be back. And then I'll be able to probably finally relax and start to bring order to some of the chaos, I guess. Why do you keep retracting your messages, Cynthia? Like, it's the second one I've seen. Why do you do that? Yeah. No. No. Gap has got stuff going on, but I'm not worrying about that till after I get back. I'll do this broadcast. I may do the radio broadcast, or I may wait till the next week. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. I feel like I've aged like 5 years in 5 weeks, like a year a week in those 5 weeks. So, um, I just feel like I need a rest. So that's what I'm gonna do. So everyone else, if you're doing a carpe diem kind of week, I wish you all the best. It's the 27th. You have until the 31st, which is Friday, to get shit done. Start it off right. Take 5 minutes and just breathe. I highly recommend the breathing. Highly recommend that. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Peach. It really, every little bit helps. I fucking abhor my self for being an online fucking beggar. But yeah, that's what it feels like to me. Um, the, this in 2020, the appeal that was gonna go fine, you know, added another 4 years to my reassessment for my SSI, and yeah, I'm gonna have to start within the next 100 days, something like that. If I don't get the approval for SSI, I'm gonna have to start doing some kind of work, and I don't know what I can even do. And I really don't want to do some of the creative work I've been offered because it's soul killing. I do my creative work as an artist, not an entertainer, and it's soul crushing and soul killing and soul sucking for me to just, hey, make this thing, uh, make some canned music, make some canned yams. I don't want to make a bunch of junk. That's my sacred place, music. So while I don't mind doing work in that field, I won't take just any job, you know. So uh, yeah, I have to start thinking about that uh, with what limitations that I have and what I'm able to do. So that's the whole thing. I appreciate I appreciate all the support and help, but I also have always appreciated just the community aspect more than anything, because I ain't the only one that's been fucked up or fucked up in the head or screwed with, and the community aspect has been a huge part of my personal recovery. So simply being here helps and is supportive. Anything else is totally optional. Uh, but every little bit does help. Mm. It's designed to get you to give up. Yes. Oh, yes. I know. And it's been uh, 6 years. I mean, I could actually call it 7 years, but it's been 6 years of just stone wall, brick wall, denial, 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 and produce your case. Well, I've given it to you in full many times. Well, we need it again. Well, they have it. You know, it's so. I just can't imagine other people who have it worse having to deal with this. It's fucking terrible. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it was stuff like that, Bach, I need a ghostwriter synonym to write stuff that I don't want on my artist name. Yeah, I could just use my legal name. But because I don't mind it being associated with that because that's what I used to do. I was an entertainer. So, but the problem is that when I mix the two, it's toxic. Like I can't when I'm entertaining people, I'm in the entertainment business. Well, it's just like any other business. You have like standards and practices and whatnot, and they're very limiting, constraining, and it's bad for the creative process. And so, in doing entertainment type stuff, it's not that I can't do it; it's I have to, you know, pick and choose and limit how much time I spend on it, and it's really for the money. Usually, it's not worth the what it what it ends up doing to my creative inspiration. Like to me, that's worth more to be able to genuinely and authentically approach my instruments and pour out whatever is inside of me into that. And whenever I'm doing simple pieces or entertainment, just stuff for entertainment, like it's dull. It dulls the blade. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, I don't know if I'm honorable. I'm honest to a fucking fault, according to my divorce attorney. But I don't know about honorable. I do feel honored. I do feel honored. But thank you. Anyways, I'm not gonna string it all out long because I really brain has the dumb, and I don't want to drag you along with it. Well, thank you, Nick. Thank you. Uh, Reminds me I need to get the 24-hour broadcast back up. I'll probably wait till next week because I just don't want to do shit. I was tired. Too much thinky brain stuff, yes. Well, okay. You and Cynthia being here is awesome. It's hard with all the paperwork, bureaucracy. It's designed to fuck over the common people. Artists or workers, too. You both deserve good things. On that topic, sort of, is, Cynthia and I are now. I'm a dual resident. I live in New Orleans and in Lake Charles, and here we are again. We're not 3,000 miles away from each other, but far enough to notice. And there's the bright side. I'm here with the kids, and I miss my partner. I love my spooky bitch. Baby. Yeah, something like that. 200 miles. And she's my number one. Don't think I'd be here without her. Wouldn't be where I am for sure. So that's a good note to end on. Love. Love people. Love each other. There's my John Lennon moment. Okay. Y'all have a fucking awesome week. And I'll see y'all uh, next week or the week after. And I am going to call Tammy Sinovic and find out when should we do the next iteration of Backflash. Um, that feels like it's coming up. So uh, that will actually be more than just me sitting here, blah, 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 blathering, whatever Doug said, babble away. It'll be more than that. So, see y'all later. Have a great week. Uh, until next month, because Friday's the 31st. Live long and prosper. Love you guys.